Ethical. I don't think anybody. That's not why Morgan chose it. It wasn't. It was purely for functional reasons. I mean, if rats had, or God help us, if monkeys had had the similar advantages of very rapid generation turnover, they'd have chosen that. So, in terms of the choice at the time, I think none whatsoever. And now it's just that it's basically inertia. You've got all this knowledge. People do start branching out to study other organisms, but they use the tools that they developed in Drosophila. I think that for those people who work on vertebrates, the insect neuroanatomy, physiology is very attractive, precisely because you don't have those ethical considerations. And I think those ethical considerations are twofold. One, there is simply not the regulatory framework in place, so you can avoid that. Secondly, though it's not simply a legal thing, there's clearly a kind of personal ethical thing about how comfortable you feel about doing awful things to rats and how much you care about doing awful things to insects. And people in general are less concerned about insects than they are about mammals. You could argue whether that's justified or not, but it's not simply a legal framework. It's also a personal, ethical thing. That having been said, the big drawback of Drosophila and why there hasn't been this movement from, hasn't been a major movement from people working on rodents to working on, say, primates, to working on Drosophila, is that they are incredibly infuriatingly small. And that is the absolute massive problem with them, is that you can do incredibly fancy stuff, but you've got to be very, very precise if you want to observe what's happening in the brain or manipulate the brain or whatever. So, in terms of how individuals treat them, I mean, I think a general rule is I don't think a fly feels pain. I don't know that. I'm not sure how I could know that. I don't think it does. I don't think you should potentially cause any distress to any organism if you can avoid it. So, we're not cruel to our flies or our maggots. We will dispose of them in as humane a way as possible. We'll put them in the freezer so they're killed, very, very quickly, and they'll go to sleep, rather than doing awful things to them. On the other hand, I mean, I don't think that's not a primary consideration. That is not a legal requirement. That is down to individuals what they would do. I would encourage people to do that, not because I'm a Buddhist, because it's bad karma, but just because I think it's good practice.